On a sunny April afternoon in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the golden rays of the sun bathed the cemetery grounds, casting long shadows of the maple trees that lined the path. A cool breeze carried the scent of blooming lilacs from a nearby garden, blending with the quiet murmur of a gathering crowd. The funeral of Vietnam War hero Colonel Richard Thompson was underway, attended by veterans, family members, and loved ones from across the state. The sight was somber, yet dignified. A freshly dug grave beside the flag-draped coffin, which stood on a platform surrounded by an honor guard in crisp uniforms. Rows of white chairs had been set up for the family, while others stood at a respectful distance, some with tears in their eyes and others clutching faded photographs or medals. Among the crowd was newly elected President Donald Trump, dressed in a finely tailored suit and wearing a serious expression. He walked toward the gathering with a deliberate gait, his presence drawing whispers and glances. His controversial history with veterans loomed in the minds of many attendees, adding an air of tension to the otherwise solemn event. As the ceremony progressed, heartfelt speeches echoed through the hushed crowd. Stories of Thompson's bravery and sacrifice brought both smiles and tears. But the tranquility was shattered when an elderly Vietnam veteran stepped forward. He was a wiry man with a chest adorned by medals glinting in the sunlight, their shine contrasting the weathered, battle-worn face they rested above. His deep-set eyes carried the weight of a lifetime of memories. His voice, though cracked by age, rang out clear and forceful. "Mr. Trump, what are you doing here?" All heads turned. A wave of murmurs rippled through the crowd, but the veteran continued, his tone escalating with each word. "We lost our youth in that war. When we came home, we had nothing. No jobs, no health, not even the families we left behind. And what did we get in return? Forgotten. Because your priorities were power, money, politics. Veterans like us were mere tools to you, and even now you use soldiers as props in your political theater. You stand here and speak of heroes, but have you ever bothered to know their stories?" Trump, visibly taken aback, hesitated for a moment before regaining his composure. His voice was measured, yet his words brimmed with his signature confidence. "I'm here to honor a hero who served this country. Rehashing old grievances won't lead us forward. This is about respect, not division." The exchange electrified the atmosphere. Voices rose as the gathering divided, older veterans murmuring their agreement with the man's fiery words, while some younger veterans, hardened by modern wars, voiced their support for Trump. The ceremony, which had begun in unity and respect, was descending into discord. Amid the rising clamor, a figure appeared on the sidewalk, catching everyone's attention. He was a tall, frail black man, his clothes tattered and faded with time. His shoes were worn through, revealing patches of skin, and in his hand he carried a small plastic bag that swung gently as he walked. He stopped for a moment, standing under the shadow of a towering oak tree. His weathered face, lined with years of hardship, bore an expression of quiet contemplation. His deep, sunken eyes scanned the crowd, taking in the heated argument unfolding before him. Shaking his head slightly, he stepped forward with slow but deliberate strides. As he approached, the crowd fell silent, drawn to his unassuming presence. He moved past rows of mourners, his thin frame standing in stark contrast to the military regalia surrounding him. When he reached the center of the gathering, his voice broke through the silence, steady and resolute. "Why are you here today?" "To honor a man who has passed. Yet you're fighting among yourselves. Each of you believes you're right, but have you paused to ask, who are we in this life? I am nothing, just a man living on the streets. You wear medals, you hold power, you carry wealth. Yet one day all of us will be buried under the same earth. It doesn't matter whether our flags are the same or different. The soil levels us all. Beyond the soil there is no road, only the truth of death, and the loved ones left behind to mourn. Look at me. I have no loved ones, no home, no land. But I know what death is. And today, I see this. You dishonor this man's memory with your arguments. Ask yourselves, is your pride more valuable than his sacrifice, his life, his dignity? If the answer is no, return to your silence and honor him as he deserves. Trump, for the first time, was at a loss for words. The elderly veteran who had spoken earlier lowered his head, his clenched fists now relaxed. The black man, clutching his plastic bag tightly, turned and walked away with slow, deliberate steps. No one followed him. His words lingered in the air, heavier than any speech that had been given. The ceremony resumed, this time cloaked in an even deeper silence. But now the silence was not just respect for the fallen. It was an acknowledgement of shared humanity and the sobering truths the stranger had spoken. Sometimes, the most profound lessons come from the most unexpected people. On that day, a homeless man delivered a moment of clarity that no one present would ever forget. Unknown to all, he too had once been a soldier, a Vietnam veteran whose sacrifices had gone unnoticed. His parting gift was not just his words, but a reminder of the fragility and dignity of every human life.
If you liked this video, please support us and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. It means a lot.